My whole life I've been running after money, after stability, or after some type of success. But no matter how fast I ran, I was still slow. And after some time, I started asking myself, am I the only one running endlessly?
About two-thirds of Americans are deemed financially illiterate.
70% of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck.
Personal finances are their biggest source of stress.
Kids are not graduating high school today financially literate.
And this isn't just an American thing, it's a worldwide phenomenon. And you may be asking why. Why are millions of smart and hardworking people still struggling with the basics of money? If we don't understand how money works, we can't live freely. Look, I come from a poor family. My parents worked constantly and still it was never enough. Sometimes not even close. So my financial education came from struggle, from watching stress eat through people I love. And growing up, I kept wondering, am I just unlucky? Am I not smart enough? Is wealth just not for people like me? Here's what I eventually figured out. I wasn't lost. I was just looking for answers to questions like, how do I build wealth? Why didn't anyone teach me this? And when I typed them into ChatGPT, I actually got good answers. So the problem wasn't the question. The problem was that I was expecting the answers to come by default from the system. A system that was never built to help me win. Because when you grow up in a world like this, you assume that rules are designed with your best interest in mind. You think if I just follow the rules, go to school, get a job, work hard, everything will be fine, right? But what if the steps were designed to keep you in place? What if confusion isn't a side effect, but actually the point? That's when everything shifted for me. I realized you cannot win an unfair game by playing harder. You win by learning how the game was built. So I started digging, and what I found wasn't just surprising. It was actually intentional. It didn't start with you, your parents, or your grandparents. It started long before that, with a decision made generations ago, one that still controls how we think about money today. Let me show you. To understand why schools are the way they are, we need to talk about a man you've probably never heard about before, named Horace Mann. In the mid-1800s, he was called the father of the American education. He had one mission: to create a system that could educate every child in the US. Sounds noble, right? And in many ways it was. However, the model that he managed to make had a hidden agenda. In 1843, Mann visited Prussia. At the time, Prussia was around here in Europe. He was amazed by their education system, how it created orderly, obedient citizens. But unfortunately, it wasn't designed to create thinkers. It was designed to control people, especially conquered populations like the Polish. And when Horace brought parts of that model back to America, they didn't just get a school system, they inherited a control system. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, factories were booming, and the economy needed fuel. Not ideas, not innovation. It needed bodies, especially obedient ones. Millions of workers who would follow orders, show up on time, and never question the system. Not thinkers, not entrepreneurs, not owners. And that's when another man saw an opportunity. Here comes John D. Rockefeller. He once said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." And he didn't waste any time, because in 1902, he established the General Education Board, an entire board to shape public education in America. And what did they focus on? Well, you guessed it by now. Obedience, rote learning, punctuality, repetition, but never how money works, never how power works. Because when people understand those things, they stop being easy to manage. And a financially literate population, that's a dangerous population for a corrupt system. And now you might think, sure, that's public school. But what about universities? Well, unfortunately, it's the same game, just on a higher level. Because the Rockefeller family donated to 75 elite institutions, including Harvard, Yale, Columbia, or MIT. And when you give that much money, you don't just support education, you shape it. Because education isn't just about what gets taught, it's also about what gets left out. You see, with money comes influence. With influence comes control, and with control, you don't need chains. You just need a diploma. A machine that takes in kids and spits out employees. Efficient, obedient, and replaceable. Fast forward, new world, same blueprint. We still teach algebra over taxes, Shakespeare over savings, standardized tests over real-world tools, and the result? Only 24% of millennials have basic financial literacy. 79% of people got zero financial education in school. So basically 4 out of 5 people are walking into adulthood financially blind. And what happens when people don't understand money? Well, you have debt, anxiety, broken relationships, working 40 plus hours a week with nothing to show. And this ignorance, it's inherited. We pass it down generation after generation. But not you, because if you're here watching this, something inside of you wants to break the cycle, just like I want. So let's take this seriously. Here's the truth. Money is a skill. It's not a talent, it's not a gift. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned by anyone. Even if you grew up with nothing, even if nobody taught you, even if the system worked exactly as it was designed, to keep you confused. And once I saw that, everything changed. Because it wasn't about luck, it wasn't about being special, it was about finally learning the rules of the game and realizing I was never crazy for feeling stuck. I was just playing someone else's game. We were born into a race we didn't sign up for, and for years it felt like we were sprinting with no finish line. But now you see it. The system wasn't broken, it was built this way. And just to be clear, this doesn't mean public school is evil or pointless. Teachers aren't the problem, because school gives us tools like literacy, structure, social skills. But based on the facts, it leaves out some of the most important parts of life, like money, taxes, building wealth, or navigating freedom. And because those things aren't taught, we have to figure them out on our own, through books, videos, mistakes, and a whole lot of trial and error. That's the truth. You might not know exactly what your next step looks like, but even the smallest awareness is a crack in the system, a way out. If this video opened the door in your mind, just walk through it, because someone out there will break the cycle. And it might as well be you. We were never crazy for questioning things. The story we were told never quite made sense because it was never meant to. But now you see it, and what you do next, that's up to you. This isn't the end of the story. It's the start of a better one.